I call upon God's name and on my own. You call upon God's name and on your own. Welcome back, fam. Today we have another great lesson in front of us. Today we'll be studying lesson 183 of A Course in Miracles. Let's go ahead and dive straight in. If you got the book open up to the lesson, great job. And if you don't got the book yet, PDF is in the description. Let's go ahead and begin. Lesson 183. I call upon God's name and on my own. God's name is holy, but no holier than yours. To call upon his name is but to call upon your own. A father gives his son his name, and thus identifies the son with him. His brothers share his name, and thus are they united in a bond to which they turn for their identity. Your father's name reminds you of who you are, even within a world that does not know, even though you have not remembered it. God's name cannot be heard without response, nor said without an echo in the mind that calls you to remember. Say his name, and you invite the angels to surround the ground on which you stand, and sing to you as they spread out their wings to keep you safe and shelter you from every worldly thought that would intrude upon your holiness. Repeat God's name, and all the world responds by laying down illusions. Every dream the world holds dear has suddenly gone by, and where it seemed to stand, you find a star, a miracle of grace. The sick arise, healed of their sickly thoughts. The blind can see, the deaf can hear. The sorrowful cast off their mourning, and the tears of pain are dried as happy laughter comes to bless the world. Repeat the name of God, and little names have lost their meaning. No temptation but becomes a nameless and unwanted thing before God's name. Repeat his name, and see how easily you will forget the names of all the gods you valued. They have lost the names of God you gave them. They become anonymous and valueless to you, although before you let the name of God replace their little names, you stood before them worshipfully, naming them as gods. Now let's pause right here and understand that whenever the Course uses the word gods with a small g, with a lowercase g, that is basically us putting our faith in something in this world, an illusion that we call God. Now, let's get this straight, okay? Whenever you see the word God in here with a capital G, it is referring to truth. Anything you see in a course with a capital refers to truth, such as capital T, truth, capital S, self, capital G, God. Now, we know this, but that's a great reminder. Now, I know it may seem a little excessive to say that we're calling our car God, or money God, or clothing or success or who we know gods, but if you really think about it, that's what we're doing at the very essence of that, because what we're saying is, I don't have enough right now, I'm not enough right now, and this car that I look to is my salvation. This person that I look to for love is my salvation. This thing that I look for happiness outside of myself is my salvation. And just whenever I attain it or get a little bit more, then I will be happy. Then I will be in my natural state, which is where I truly abide with God, who I really am. Now, whenever we're looking for something outside of ourselves and we're worshiping that, such as what people do with money, they're worshiping it. And again, we don't use this terminology. We don't use these words. We're not saying we're worshiping money as a god, or we're worshiping this thing that we want outside of us as a god. But essentially, that's what we're doing whenever we're believing that our happiness is dependent upon that thing, is whenever we believe that our love is reliant upon that condition being met. that's essentially what we're doing. Now, let's no longer do that no more and understand who we are and understand that God's name is holy, but no holier than ours. To call upon his name is but to call upon our own, because me and my Father are one. You and your Father are one. We are one with our Creator because God creates me and you through extending his being. So me and you wouldn't be if it weren't for who we really are, extending ourselves to create this extension, if you will, that appears to be separate from one another. Me and you are one. We have to remember this because although it appears like we're very different here in this world, and it appears like those people out there are separate from us, and it appears like that basketball right there that you see is separate from me, and it appears like everything is form and separated by space and time in this world. Again, that is simply an illusion. Whenever you understand that everything we see in this world, everything the body's eyes see, are nothing in themselves, but they are symbols that reflect eternal ideas, then I understand that yes, although that basketball right there is an illusion in this dream, in this world, it is a symbol that is an illusion, but it is reflecting back an eternal idea. And that is real. That is truth. Ideas are truth. Our ideas are real. Now, whenever we understand that this body too is nothingness, it is a form of dust, it is a form of nothingness, but it is a symbol reflecting back an idea, and we understand that the idea is who we really are, and we are the idea in the mind of God. God creates ideas through extending his being. Then we understand that yes, a father gives his son his name and thus identifies the son with him because we are an extension of that which God is, of that which we are. Now, again, what is beyond the mind cannot be understood or comprehended. So, whenever someone is on a level of awareness that is not beyond this level of what we're discussing here, it's going to be very hard to comprehend. But if you pay less attention to the words that are being spoken and pay more attention to the energy that the words are being conveyed with right now and read between the lines, you will feel that deep sense of connectedness within your mind. If you just don't try to understand everything that's being spoken, but just understand and feel for that intention behind the words that is being spoken, because the intention behind the words is what is going to lead to that experience. The words are just symbols to help guide us there while we are still believing that we are this body. Now let's go and continue, but just remember that although again the course likes to be very exaggerated and use these outrageous examples, it is definitely needed for us to see that although we wouldn't say that that's what's going on, or not even to that large of a degree, it is using that exaggeration to show us that that's what's going on whenever we are believing in fear, whenever we're believing in worry or doubt or not enoughness or whatever form that the illusion may take. That is virtually what we're believing whenever we believe in fear, because it's not really there. It is of our own making. It is an illusion. And whenever we know this with the capital K, whenever we know this, whenever we know that this is something that we are certain about, then we will never have any belief to the contrary of it without knowing that it's just that, a belief. So although there may be things that me and you are still triggered by in this world, we know that all they are is a belief. We know that it is not there. It is not so. It is not certain. We are not putting our energy in that no more, because although it may trigger us right now, it is based off of our past beliefs in it, and we are here undoing those beliefs so that way we can see it for what it really is, which is love and light. Me and you are here in the state of mind where we know that love and light is all that is, where we know that God is all that is, and everything that we're discussing right now is certain, and we know this, and we know this to be true, that we're at the point that anything that is contradictory to this, we sense that, and we have built up that knowingness to have discernment. We now are able to discern very well. We're able to discern what is a thought moving in the direction of the illusion, and discern between a thought that is moving in the direction of truth. Me and you are able to discern between material that is of the world, or that is leading you more towards the world or more towards truth. Me and you are able to discern information on different levels. That is, this information is, yes, this is in the direction of truth, but this information is more pure with less abstractions, less distractions, less less distortions, if you will. Me and you have really built up our discernment to know these things, and that is important, because whenever me and you go our separate ways and we are not here in the presence of one another, or even the course or any material for that matter, it is a matter of us trusting our own guidance. And all it means whenever me and you grow in our discernment is we're trusting our own guidance. The guidance within us is pure knowingness. It is literally who we really are. It is the knowingness of God and of love and of joy. Now, whenever we learn to become a finely tuned instrument and be receptive to that knowledge that is there 24/7, then that is how we discern things, because we're looking at this, and the way we feel based upon what we're giving our attention to is letting us know in that moment, is this something that is moving you in the direction of truth or the direction of the illusion? Stuck on that hamster wheel, trying to get something in this world that is very fleeting to make you feel better, but only temporarily until you need your next fix. Me and you are here to avoid all of that. We're still going to experience as much fun as we want to in this world, but we are going to do it in a way that we are not needing it, where we can experience the world, but we do not need that experience in order to feel any type of way, because who we are is happy, who we are is joyous, and is love. And we need nothing to make us feel that way, because that is just simply who we are. Whenever we feel, or anyone feels for that matter, that they need something outside of themselves to feel the way of their true self, they're lost. They're in the illusion. Now, whenever me and you, like we do right now, know that we are this feeling, we are love and light, we are source, then we need nothing outside of ourselves, because we understand that we are already all that is. We are already love. We are already light and joy, and we are going to experience our light and joy in different forms that they may take in the world, but it's just to go about doing so to experience the movie and the play. But none of it is needed, none of it is necessary, because we're done playing those games. We're no longer looking for what belongs to us outside of ourselves, as if it's not already within. Repeat the name of God and call upon your capital S self. Call upon who you really are, whose name is His. Repeat His name, and all the tiny, nameless things on earth slip into right perspective. Those who call upon the name of God cannot mistake the nameless for the name, nor sin for grace, nor bodies for the Holy Son of God. And should you join a brother as you sit with him in silence and repeat God's name along with him within your quiet mind, you have established there an altar which reaches to God Himself and to His Son. Practice but this today. Repeat God's name slowly again and still again. Become oblivious to every name but His. Hear nothing else. Let all your thoughts become anchored on this. No other word we use except the beginning when we say today's idea but once, and then God's name becomes our only thought, our only word, the only thing that occupies our minds, the only wish we have, the only sound with any meaning, and the only name of everything that we desire to see, of everything that we would call our own. Thus do we give an invitation which can never be refused, and God will come and answer it Himself. Think not He hears the little prayers of those who call on Him with names of idols cherished by the world. They cannot reach Him thus. he cannot hear requests that he be not himself, or that his son receive another name than his. Basically, anything in opposition to God that we think we want, God will not hear, because, one more time, they cannot reach him thus. He cannot hear requests that he be not himself, that God not be God, or that his son receive another name other than God. So, what this is saying is, whenever there are things out there in the world that we think that we want in order to feel this state of oneness that we're feeling right now, to return home, if you will, like we discussed, was it yesterday? I believe. Yes, yesterday. I will be still an instant and go home. Now, we are already there. We are already home. And we need nothing outside of ourselves in order to get to this state of mind. But whenever we think that we want something out there in order to get to this state of mind and we're praying for it, God does not hear that, because, one more time, they cannot reach him thus. He cannot hear requests that he be not himself, or that his son receive another name than his. So that's virtually what we're doing whenever we're asking for something outside of ourselves. Again, we're believing that our salvation lies in this form of nothingness, of this dust, this material in this world that doesn't mean anything. And we think that that's where our happiness and joy lies. And that is actually in opposition to what God wills for us, what me and you really will for ourselves if we were in our right mind. Therefore, that prayer cannot be answered, because we are asking for something that will harm us. We are asking for something that will not harm us, but that will keep us in the illusion, that will cause us to still further prolong our remembrance of who we really are. And that is not our will, and that is not God's will for us. And remember, our will and God's will are one. God's will is not this alien will being thrust upon you that you have to do what God wants you to do. No, God is simply reminding you who and what you are, which is Him, and He's reminding you what it is that you know that you want, and all that you want is the remembrance of who you really are, which is love. That's what you want. And me and you forgot that for a little bit. So we think that we want something other than that remembrance and knowingness, and God knows that not to be true. Therefore, He is not going to allow that to be, because although we can believe that we get something in this world, remember, what happens here is an illusion, and what happens here stays here. It doesn't really happen in truth, because there is no separation in truth. It is only oneness, and me and you are here to remember that. And it is hard to remember that oneness or experience that oneness whenever you have practiced a thought system that is so opposed to that oneness, which is what the world is doing, which is what me and you have done our whole lives. And we are here now undoing any belief that is opposite to what we really want and what we know that we want now. So let's just understand that me and you cannot ever, in truth, receive anything other than what we will for ourselves, and God's will is simply Him reminding us, hey, tapping on us, yo, this is what you want, and you wanted me to remind you whenever you fell asleep. And we did. We wanted to be reminded of what it is that we desired and who it is that we are. But now that we got into these bodies, we think that we want something completely different than that. And God is just there reminding us through the Holy Spirit, if you will, through that part of ourself, that through that part of our mind that is still undivided and whole. That part of ourself is reminding us, yo, it's time to come back. You've gone too far. You're too deep in the world of illusion. You think that this is real, and it simply is not so. And the wise person will choose to listen to that voice like me and you have, and we will go back to where we belong. And the individual who believes that they are that self that they made, that we've been calling the ego, does not want to hear that. The ego has took on a mind of its own and believes that it is real, and anything that opposes it, which is love, which is everything that the Holy Spirit is guiding us back towards, is an attack, the ego believes, because it is literally an attack against the ego. Although love doesn't attack, the ego feels attacked because love is proving the ego false, and that could definitely feel attacking whenever you are being proven false. So let's just understand that me and you want what we're doing right now. We want to remember. We want this and only this. We want the remembrance of who and what we really are. And anything that we think that we want otherwise is simply something me and you need to use our discernment on. We need to discern, why is it that I want this thing out there in the world? And most of the time it is an ego goal. And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting anything out there in the world. Just understand what that thing is. It is dust, it is nothingness, it is not going to fulfill you, because who you really are is already fulfilled, and that thing that you're looking to fulfill you, it is that too. It is all that is. You are one with all aspects of creation, including that vehicle that you may want, including that amount of money or those accolades or success. You are all that is. And whenever you fine tune what it is that you would like to experience yourself as in this world, you can go ahead and do that. But just know that you don't need that to occur in order to be in this state of mind. And it's only whenever you fully realize that now you can experience all that stuff, because you're not holding it away from yourself. That's virtually what we're doing whenever we're wanting something so bad, feeling so needy for it, is it runs away from us, because we are not in the vibrational vicinity of receiving it. We are not in the vicinity of the attainment of it, because we're so focused on the lack of it. And we are going to get more and more and more of what we believe. If we believe that we are lacking something, we're going to get more of that. And if we believe that we are already in the attainment of it, which is more than a belief, which is a knowingness, and we're anchored in that knowingness, then the presence of that thing in this world will come about. It is law. Repeat God's name, and you acknowledge him as sole creator of reality. And you acknowledge also that his Son is part of him, creating in his name. Sit silently and let his name become the all-encompassing idea that holds your mind completely. Let all thoughts be still except this one, and to all other thoughts respond with this, and see God's name replace the 1,000 little names you gave your thoughts, not realizing that there is one name for all there is and all that there will be. Today, you can achieve a state in which you will experience the gift of grace. You can escape all bondage of the world and give the world the same release you found. You can remember what the world forgot and offer it to your own remembering. You can accept today the part you play in its salvation, and your own as well, and both can be accomplished perfectly. Turn to the name of God for your release, and it is given you. No prayer, but this is necessary, for it holds them all within it. Words are insignificant, and all requests unneeded when God's Son calls on his Father's name. His Father's thoughts become his own. He makes his claim to all his Father gave, is giving still, and will forever give. He calls on him to let all things be taught. He calls on him to let all he thought he made be nameless now, and in their place the holy name of God becomes his judgment of their worthlessness. All little things are silent. Little sounds are soundless now. The little things of earth have disappeared. The universe consists of nothing but the Son of God, who calls upon his Father, and his Father's voice gives answer in his Father's holy name. In this eternal, still relationship, in which communication far transcends all words, and yet exceeds in depth and height whatever words could possibly convey, is peace eternal. In our Father's name, we would experience this peace today, and in his name it shall be given us. Words are a funny thing if you think about them, because words are what we use in this world to communicate and get an idea from this mind, so to speak, to that mind. Although it is one mind. There is no separation. And again, even that cannot be said clear enough with words in order to help someone understand that it is an experience. Now, although a lot of words are offered here every day while we are together discussing this information, it is important for us to not only listen to the words and try to understand them, but it is important for us to pay more attention to the way that they feel and read in between the lines and really remember and feel for the familiarity of these words, that feel the familiarness of the intention behind the words. These words are just symbols, and we know this because if we were to take this entire course, right? Look at the words right there. And if we were to rearrange them all, it would have a completely different story. You could tell a story that has nothing to do with what we're discussing here if all these words on this page were rearranged into different orders. It would be something completely different, which just shows that the words themselves can be changed, and what can be changed was never real to begin with, because God only creates the infinite and eternal and everlasting. So these words are symbols. Once more, again, they are symbols that are conveying an intention. They are conveying an idea, and it's not the words that we need so much focus and attention on, but rather the idea that is being conveyed to us. And once we understand and we grasp that idea, and we really begin to release any thoughts that are contrary to the ideas that are being conveyed to us here, we will have an experience. And me and you have been having these experiences for a while now. We have felt the love that we're feeling now, the joy, the happiness, the peace. We know that this is so, but it's just always important to remember that words are also a part of the illusion. And whenever you reach a state of mind that is conveyed right here in this lesson, where the word of God is the only thing that is flooding your mind, whenever the presence of God is the only thing on your mind, you are going to receive so much insight that no amount of words, no matter how well spoken they are, can or could have gave you that insight, because that insight was an experience. Whenever you sit there in silence and you allow God to take over, if you will, you are going to receive an experience that is so beyond words that no matter how well you put them together, you cannot give those words to another individual so that way they can experience what you experienced. That is something that they are going to have to reach on their own by releasing all resistant ideas that they right now hold in their mind that are causing them not to experience that state of mind that you experienced. Because what we're experiencing now is natural. This is natural. This is home. This is heaven. And it's only because we've practiced so much that opposes this that is blocking us from being free to even experience this. The only reason why we're experiencing this love right now and this freedom and peace and joy to whatever extent that we are is because we have released any thoughts that are holding us down, any thoughts that are contrary to this. And the more thoughts we release that is contrary to this, the higher we will go in awareness. So although we're feeling very great right now, if we were to release even more resistant thoughts that we may have right now, then we would even go higher in awareness and we would be more free. So to the degree that you release everything that is not of God is going to be to the degree that you experience the fullness of that. Now, we're going to pause right here. Let's understand the irrelevance and non-importance of words, and let's understand that they are just conveying an idea to us. Today, let's not use so many words. Let's just focus on the presence of God that is here right now in this moment, always, even whenever we go our separate ways and this course is closed and we do whatever we're doing throughout our day. Even whenever these conditions that's happening right here and now are not being met, the presence of God is always here for us to tune into. And again, one more time, to the degree that we release anything that is not of that presence, we will experience that presence more and more and more. The more we release that is not that, the more we will experience that is that. So again, we will conclude right here and meet here again for tomorrow, lesson 184 of A Course in Miracles. I will see you then.